give them something to drink. To the cliffs!
Acts 9. And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, went unto the high priest, and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound unto Jerusalem. And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they led him by the hand, and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias, and to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus, for behold, he prayeth, and hath seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in, and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I've heard by many of this man how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he hath authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way, and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Jesus that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, hath sent me, that thou mightest receive thy sight, and be filled with the Holy Ghost. And immediately there fell from his eyes, as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith, and arose, and was baptized. And when he had received meat, he was strengthened. Then was Saul certain days with the disciples which were at Damascus, and straightway he preached Christ in the synagogue, that he is the Son of God. But all that heard him were amazed, and said, Is not this he that destroyed them which called on this name in Jerusalem, and came hither for that intent, that he might bring them bound unto the chief priests? But Saul increased the more in strength, and confounded the Jews which dwelt at Damascus, proving that this is very Christ. And after that many days were fulfilled, the Jews took counsel to kill him. But a laying await was known of Saul, and they watched the gates day and night to kill him. Then the disciples took him by night, and let him down by the wall in a basket.
Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Much mercy, and much honors to you, brothers that's really in the spirit, that can really see. Going into the story of Paul, after he got knocked off the high horse, he was blinded for 3 days. For 3 days. So the number 3 is important. But anyway, just like the Lord, he said, in 3 days I raised the temple up, and on the 3rd day he raised us up. But going back to this chapter, see, Saul was prosecuting the men of the Lord. He was there when Stephen got stoned. and he was doing something. He was killing the prophets. He was persecuting them, man. And what's beautiful is it shows you how low Paul was. Well, he was on that high horse, and the Lord brought his ass down low. You see, so if you're not knocked off that high horse, then you won't see what's going on. And the story is beautiful because, like, the Lord, Paul was doing all these things, prosecuting the church, prosecuting the prophets. And the part about this is that he was forgiven for that, and then turned around and had the Spirit put on him, where he was doing the work for the Lord. But I want to read this real quick. Matter of fact, this is start up here. Acts 9:1, and Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Lord, and went into the high priest. So he was slaughtering and threatening the disciples of the Lord. You see? So before Paul got the Spirit, he was killing the prophets, man. And it's heavy because he was really doing a real evil, wicked deed. Now it says, and desired of him letters to Damascus and to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they be men or women, that he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. So that's what he was set up to do, man. He was set up to destroy those basically that were actually worshiping the Lord. So continuing on, it says, as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined around about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why prosecutest thou me? And so it says, and he said, who art thou? And the Lord said, I am Yahushua, whom thou prosecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. That's right. So the Lord appeared to Paul. Now check out Paul. And that's what guys are doing. They're kicking it against the pricks. They're trying to destroy Yahushua like now. But it's hard for them to kick against the pricks. But a lot of guys, they've been set up to be the wicked ones, just like the Jews were in this time. The Jews were our people that were prosecuting the prophets. But the Lord said, I am Yahushua, whom thou prosecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? So look, he recognized that was the Lord, and immediately he was trembling. He was like, man, he was astonished. He said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? Because at this point he was knocked off the horse, and he's just astonished. And the Lord said unto him, arise and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but not seeing no man. You see that? So if Yahushua comes to you, he's not for everybody. That's what that shows you too, because the men stood there and they couldn't see Yahushua. Only one that could see him was Paul, but they heard the voice. So that's just like now. Not everybody's gonna be able to see Yahushua and receive him. Now they might hear you say certain things about the Lord, but they're not gonna be able to receive Yahushua. Now it says, and Paul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were open, he saw no man, but they laid him by hand and brought him to Damascus. And he was there 3 days without sight, neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias to him. And the Lord said and Salakia. And let me read that again. There was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias, and to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, Arise and go to the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For behold, he prayed. He had seen a vision in a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him that he might receive sight. And Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard many of this man have much evil he have done to thy saints at Jerusalem. So the Lord, he used somebody that was an enemy that was killing the Jews, man. Like this guy said, this man do much evil, but through the Lord all things are possible. He turned this man around. See, this man, he was doing evil. Now it says, and here he have authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel. So the Lord told that guy, he said, hey man, Saul is a chosen vessel unto me. Go thy way. You see? He says, for I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And Ananias went his way and entered to the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Yahushua, appeared unto thee in this way, as thou camest, has sent me, that thou mightest receive sight and be filled with the Holy Ghost. And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith, and arose and was baptized. So Paul was sealed. Paul was healed because the Lord told that guy to go put his hand and open his eyes. So now Paul was healed. And straightway he preached in the synagogues that he is the Son of the Most High. But all heard of him and were amazed and said, It is not he that destroyed them which called on this name in Jerusalem, and came hither for that intent, that he might bring them to bound unto the chief priests. But Paul increased the more in strength, and confounded the Jews that dwelt in Damascus, proving that this is very very anointed. Now Paul has been turned around, and now the Spirit is on him, and then people couldn't believe it. So Paul, he increased the more in strength, and confounded the Jews which dwelt at Damascus. So when the Spirit is on you, you're going to be cussing out the wicked, like what Paul's doing now. So he went from slaying the righteous to now he's slaying the wicked and the evil Jews on a high seat now. And he was forgiven for all of that. So now he's going all out for Yahushua. And after that, many days were fulfilled. The Jews took counsel to kill him. So all the men of the Lord, they had their life in danger. They want to kill the men of the Lord for the things the men of the Lord spake. Now, if you watch these guys in these groups in these camps, nobody gives a fuck about what these guys are saying, because they ain't saying a goddamn thing. And another point too, he confounded the Jews. You don't see Esau in there. You don't see nobody else in there. That's what happens when the Lord raised you up. Really, he's going to make you, just like he raised up Jeremiah, he's going to make you, raise you up to be a mouth against your people. And that's what you got to understand about the Spirit of the Lord. Once you have the Spirit of the Lord on you, you could heal and confound the wicked. Because first is going to be starting with our people. But Paul was forgiven for much. He was forgiven for much. Verse 24, but their lyings await was known of Saul, and they watched the gates night and day to kill him. So just like the other prophets, and Yahushai and Paul and Peter, men wanted to kill the men of the Lord. Now the Holy Spirit had Paul turn around, and now he's confounding the guys who he was working for. You see how that worked? So now he's not with that crowd anymore. He's with the Lord. The Lord said that Paul was a chosen vessel. So that's just like today. You know, certain of us brothers, we got out the synagogue. We was doing the evil thing too. We wasn't. Well, actually, yeah, you're in the synagogue and you're killing guys through the Spirit if you're not really teaching Yahushua. You're just giving guys a slow death. So we was in the synagogue and we thought the only thing that mattered was prophecies. And then we started to see what was really going on, and the Lord gave us a whole nother second chance. And guess what we do? We confound the Jews now. And guys, what? They want to take your life because you have turned yourself around and you're in the Spirit confounding them. See, once you're in the Spirit, then that's what you're doing. And by that happening, Paul, these Jews, they took counsel to kill Paul because now he was confounding them, the same people who he was working for. But now he's against them now. So now they wanted to kill him. So you got to understand that about this truth. If you're really in the Spirit, you're not going to be praised or none of that, or double honored or none of that. Paul, in none of these scriptures, they said that Paul was double honored. You see, it didn't go like that. You're supposed to honor the men in your camp. It's not no worldly thing where you got everybody giving you double honors. Because these guys today, they're of the fucking world. These elderly men, like we keep telling you guys, and all these groups, they're of the world. But my point is, Paul, he was forgiven for much. So that's why he asked Yahushua, he said, hey, what do you need me to do, Lord? Turned him around just like that in a snap of a finger. You see, he's like, hey, what do you need me to do, Lord? Right, this is going back up. Acts 9:6. And he trembling and astonished said, Lord, what would thou have me to do? So when the Lord came to him, just by seeing the Lord and having that light, he was turned around. It was turned around. So he went from prosecuting the prophets of the Lord to help raising up the prophets of the Lord. You see that? So he went from killing to actually helping brothers live through the Spirit. So Paul, the Lord forgave him, and that was a lot to forgive of what Paul did. But all things are possible through the Lord. That's why you can't deny Yahushua in these times and say you're not in an agreement or covenant with him. And don't let guys do that to you, because you're just destroying yourself along with these demons, which they don't have any faith. But anyway, Paul was forgiven for much, and you know the stories of Paul going all out. He was blinding sorcerers and shit like that. He was going from town, city to city, and Paul was stoned to death and brought back to life again. So Paul was reborn again, and then after he was reborn again, that the Jews stoned him to death, and the Lord brought him back. So that's just like the other story right here in Luke, when the lady, she was washing his feet, and she was forgiven for much sin. So she was really into cleaning, to scrubbing the Lord's feet, just like Paul. Paul was forgiven for much. So guess what he did? He loved much. Now this is Luke 7. And let's see. Let's see. Now Luke, let's go right to the point. Now Luke chapter 7 verse and 41. It says, there was a creditor which had two debtors, and one owed 500 pence and the other 50. And when he had nothing to pay, he frankly forgave them both. Tell me, therefore, which of them will he love the most? Simon answered and said, I suppose he whom he forgave the most. And he said unto him, thou hast rightly judged. And he turned unto the woman and said unto Simon, seest thou this woman? I enter into thine house, and thou givest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with tears and wiped them with her hairs of her head. And thou givest me no kiss, but this woman since the time I came in have not ceased to kiss my feet. My head, it says, my head with oil doesn't not anoint me, but this woman have anointed my feet with ointment. Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But whom is little forgiven, the same loveth little. And he said unto her, thy sins be forgiven. Right, so if you have been forgiven for much, you're going to love much. So a lot of guys, they still got their old sins on them because they're not really in the Lord like the prophets was. So Paul was forgiven them much, so he loved much. The Lord said, since I came in here, he said, this woman have washed my feet with tears and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou givest me no kiss, but this woman since the time I came in have not ceased to kiss my feet. And that's what we're doing. We're not ceasing to teach this word. We're teaching this word because we've been forgiven for a lot. And the Lord gave us mercy to get out of the darkness, to get out of these groups. So how you could tell too, because look at what Paul had to go through. You know, he went from killing the prophets for now men want to kill him. And that's what they want to do with the prophets. They want to kill you. They want to destroy you once you start waking your people up. You see what I'm saying? Once you really start to get them to see, now your life is in danger. But he that was forgiven for much is going to love much, and it's going to show. And now you're going to be hated by the world on a high level because you love the Lord so much and you're willing to do everything for the Lord. See, what guys are showing, they haven't been forgiven. So they don't even love the Lord that much. They're using the Lord for money. And therefore, they have their consolation and their fame. They don't love the Lord like that. They only doing this for reward. But if you, like Paul was forgiven for much, therefore he loved the Lord the much. And that's what this is about. And so you could actually tell who's of the Lord. See, that's why we're going through these certain stories and things, so brothers can really understand where the spirit is and where it's not. You see, because what these guys going to do in these groups and these camps, they're going to get a lot of men destroyed. And by the time they do realize it, it's going to be way too late. But for you brothers that can see what's happening, you got to separate yourself and line yourself up with the spirit and who the Lord is dealing with. You see, but with that, man, if you have not been forgiven for much, you're not going to love the Lord that much. You see. But with that, man, Lord willing, that was edifying to be on to the next one. Hey, shalom.